tell people there's 3 tests of focus. If I asked you right now watching, do you tend to focus more on what you control or can't control? You know, it's interesting. Rooms are split when you ask that question, right? If you're always focused on what you can't control, you're going to be stressed. And then the second question I asked, do you focus on what you have or what's missing? The vast majority of people focus on what's missing. If you're always focused on what's missing and what you can't control, you're going to be angry or depressed or frustrated. We don't have to go any further. I can give you Prozac all day long, and you're still going to be, you might be numb, but you're still going to be angry and frustrated. We haven't dealt with the origin of the problem. Do you tend to focus more on the past, the present, or the future? We all do all 3. But if your focus is mostly on the past, which you can't change, and what you can't control, and what's missing in your life, I ask people in my rooms all the time, 10,000 people in a room, and I'll say, how many of you know somebody that is taking antidepressants and is still depressed? 95% of the room raises their hand. Most people know people that have 2 or 3 drugs and they're still depressed. That ought to tell us that the problem is not the external world. And the problem is not just biochemistry. The problem is the software that's running this process. And you can't change somebody else's software if you don't change your own. You can't help someone get to solutions, you can't change your own. So I'm able to help people in this area because I don't participate in the bullshit. I don't do it. Do I like everything I see? Of course not. Do I have my opinions of how life should be? Of course. Then there's how life is. And then it's like being pragmatic and saying, how do I, in this environment, continue to add value to people's lives? How do I make sure that I have a joyous life for myself and my family? How do I help those that are less fortunate than myself, regardless of what's happening in the external environment? I think that is a more empowering approach, at least for me.